Hey guys, this is Nick coming to you with another Infinity Kingdom video. This one will be the first of a mini series covering the top 10 mistakes to avoid and correct in the game. So what we're going to do, because 10 mistakes it takes some time to cover correctly and properly, we are going to give you the full list in the description, but we're only going to cover two of the top mistakes in this video. So without further ado, the first top mistake that you want to avoid and correct if you're currently making that mistake is investing in the wrong immortals and marches. Very simple. The game provides you with different immortals. You can build different marches, and some of these immortals, some of these marches are not investment that you want to do. They are immortals and marches that you want to stay away from because overall they are down the tier list. Now, when it comes to tier list, we're going to cover that topic another time. This is more about the broad idea of making mistakes when it comes to investing in immortals and marches that are not meta, that are not currently good. And the marches that we're going to use as an example, if you don't know me, you're gonna know now. I'm a bit of a water eater. I do not like the spot that water marches are in at the moment. I think they are currently very weak, and I don't think you should be investing in water at all. Let's take an example by looking at the top ranking of our server. As you can see, it's quite low, but that's not what's important. If you look at the top player here at 843, he is at the end of the day in our server the top player when it comes to power. But that is only a number. If you look at the March, he is currently using a full water March, and it's a Yoshi in Merlin backroom. So if you look at the Dragon, level 47, 8, quite invested, almost maxed out for the current situation with the current 55 level castle. Merlin, 30 dust, 31 dust on Yoshi, 40 dust on Attila, 41 dust on Arald. Now, the reason I'm only touching on the dust is because that cannot be recovered, while as a specialization can actually be recovered, only costs 500 gem, and you get the books back. It takes time to gather all these fragments, but again, it can be recovered. So not the end of the world. But as you can see, this is a fully water march. Is the top one in the server. If you look at the power, you could maybe guess that is one of the top marches in the arena. Um, Technically, it should be at least in the top 10, top 15. But when you go and look at how effective it is on the battlefield, and you look at one aspect of the game, which is arena, easy to see. You go down the list, and you're going to see that is only 28th. So barely making it top 30. Just on the fact that the main march he uses is the water march, which is not in a good spot. It is very weaker in PvP effectiveness when you compare it to other marches that are as easy to build. Another good example is here, Killer Queen, only 30. If you look at the ranking, fifth in the server, right? So investing in the wrong immortal in the wrong march will hurt you down the line. And it's not only going to hurt you in arena, it's going to hurt you in TOS, which is basically the same thing, but also hunting gnomes. These march are going to return more wounded, more dead soldiers during garrison. During city siege, during gate siege, the garrison is going to hurt a whole lot if you're using a water march. You're going to get 5-6k dead and wounded by attack on the garrison, and you're barely going to put a dead in it. You're maybe taking 5-6 garrison out for a lot of wounded. And in PvP as a whole during KVK, your main march, you're basically taking a spot on a garrison or a rally. Your march is so ineffective when it comes to PvP. When you're a water main, you're taking a spot. You're not helping. So what you want to do is just avoid investing in those march. Now, the second mistake goes hand in hand with that first mistakes, which is doubling down on bad investment and bad immortal. Now, we're not gonna only talk about the mistake itself, right? That's not the goal here. It's to fix it. So the second mistake, which is doubling down on bad immortals, is what we're gonna go in depth here. The reason is I have a lot of players in different alliance, different server. They ask, what they should do with their march, right? How should they pivot? Their water main, they are looking to build another team to take over. And when they're being told by strong players to just completely move away from it, because they're so invested, if you again take an example on the top one in the server at the moment, he is quite invested in water. Moving away from water will take time, dedication, and will stall his power for a few months. So a lot of players, what they do is they double down. They just keep going on water, all in on water. They keep investing dust, keep investing time, resources, thinking that at some point either Infinity Kingdom is going to buff water or they're going to get to a point where they're going to be maxed out and they're going to be able to compete and beat other marches. But that's not going to be the case. If Infinity Kingdom do buff water, great. It's not something you should be waiting for. Last time what they did to water is got it. Attila was decent, is no longer that good. Just not an immortal you should invest in. And as getting maxed out on water, you might as well getting maxed out on a good march, right? Maxed out water is still going to lose to a barely half max decent march. The way you do it is simple. You take your time, you do it slowly, and if you take as an example again the same player, what he will do, the way he should be doing it, is you stop to work on that water merge completely, entirely. You just stop. It doesn't matter if you're about to reach that level 40 on dust level, if you're almost spec 8, you're 7, you just need a few fragments, just stop. Move that march, keep it at the main march at the moment, but be ready to move it as your second march as soon as your own model is ready. The best investment for free to play and low spender is going to be a Alex, Zenobia, Quinn, and a Yisun YSS March. Now, if you think that YSS might be too difficult to get, he is quite easy when it comes to King of the Hill boxes, and you can also get him in the Golden Path. But if you think it's going to be too hard, you can put Hannibal or another tank that is half decent. Um, at the end of the day, your carry is going to be Alex. He's going to be the main carry. You need a tank that will be able to soak damage, and YSS is the best option. Um, so what you want to do basically is you stop working on the water. You start working only on your dragon, the earth one. You work on your queen, you work on your Zenobia, your YSS, and your Alex. As soon as one of them is ready, you swap them in your main march. If Alex is ready, decently does spec around 4 or 5, he's ready. You put him in the first march. You put your other immortal that you swapped out into your second march until you get to a point where you're fully um, ready with your main march, which is going to be Alex, YSS, Zeno, and Quinn with our giant. Your water march will become your second march. It's going to be used for rallies, not rallies, sorry, for city sieges, gates, and you're going to be able to get some value out of it in arena a little bit if your main team really hurts the enemy main team, and then your water can finish it. But again, the main goal is to move away from it, so you don't invest anything in water no more, only on your main team. So what it's going to look like a little bit is like my account that I'm showing you right now. it was a water march, which I move away from. So it was a fully water march Yoshi, Merlin, Attila, and Aral. What I did is just what I explained. Slowly, I worked on the Immortals I wanted to replace them with. And as soon as they were ready, I swapped it in the main march. Dragon being worked on 8-8-20, already better than a maxed out water. It's been in my march for a while. Quinn, very easy to work on, which is one reason why we're putting him in this march. Also, healing cut, very good immortal. An immortal that you invest in and you swap out of your main march is still going to give you great value in your second, third march. So that's why we're picking him here as a good example. Then you have your Alex. He's going to be the main carry. He's the one that you need to get to 50 dust as soon as possible. 7, so he's now in my main march. YSS, been working on him. Still a work in progress. It's already way better than any water immortal that I had, or even any water immortal at all. So he's been put in my main march for a while as well. Now the artifact is still the normal one. I think it's not that big of a deal. The immortal himself is so much better that you're not losing out, you're only gaining. Plus the artifact for the YSS is increased healing. And there's so many Quinn out there that the increased healing on the artifact is not that big a deal. It's the stats that you take a hit, but the immortal himself is way better than any water immortal. Now, as you can see, I still have Merlin. Reason being that I invested into him before switching. I stopped completely. I didn't put it to 30 just to round it up and get the buff. Doesn't matter, just stop. It will be replaced by Zenobia. Zenobia is being worked on, already 30 dust. But the spec is still too low and I don't have the artifact, which is why she's not in the main march. At the moment she's almost ready. She will be put in the main march very soon. But if you look at the PvP effectiveness of that march at only 600, it's already a lot better than even the top player at 8, almost 50 water main. Now, I don't have a report against him because he's so down the list that I don't see him no more. But I do have one example I can show. So this one here. This is a fully, not fully actually, it's a hybrid water march with Epo instead of Attila. But as you can see, there's barely any damage. There's no willing cut on his side. So if I add Zenobia, I don't even think I would lose any HP. So overall, because this is just in general a better march and better immortals to invest in, it's doing a lot better than this march which he invested in, but it's not a good investment to go for. And if you look at the power, again, I was around 600. He is around 800. So there's almost a 200K gap, and still it's not a challenge, just based on the fact that I invested on the right march and immortal. I didn't double down on something that should not be invested in. Slowly moved away. It took a few months. My power stalled for a few months where my water was not being worked on, was still my top power team, while my Alex was not fully stored. My Quinn was not fully stored. But as soon as they were, as soon as I was able to replace them, even at 200K below their power, I'm able to not only compete, but win. So that's what you want to do. You want to slowly work on your second team. Put your main water team as your second. It's doable. It's going to take time, but it's the way to go about it. You do not want to focus your investment on a team that is not worth it, and you certainly don't want to double and triple down on them. So thanks for watching. This video covered only the 2 main mistakes. We are going to cover the other mistakes in following videos. I appreciate any feedbacks that you may have. Feel free to contact me, comments. Again, if you have topics you will like me to touch on, talk about, feel free to contact me. Thanks for watching.